metaphysics is going to have to be the quote-unquote religion of tomorrow. If it isn't, you're fucked. Totally and absolutely.
Yeah. We are live. The Cult of Dangerous Gentlemen is back for another analysis of the grand simulation, as absurd as it is. Well, before we get started, I want to give a big respectful shout out to AIU, Devin Tracy. Atheism is Unstoppable. He sent us a lot of love this past week. He posted the interview that we had with him and told his people to come check us out, and they showed up, man, in huge numbers. For us, anyway, big numbers. Couple hundred people stopped by and started watching videos. They've been commenting, a lot of positive comments, some feedback about the channel and everything. So I just want to show some love because, you know how this YouTube fame and clout goes. People who are well established, they seem to know how valuable a look like that can be. So people are very covetous of the attention that they have, and it's not they don't always spread it easily. And I think it was dope that Devin came out and showed some love to us. And anybody's listening that's part of the AIU family, I appreciate y'all sticking around and giving us a sub. That shit was awesome. We appreciate y'all.
Big up to y'all. Big up to you.
Absolutely.
Yeah, mad love. So as you can see by the title, this week we came to start discussing some things. Well, actually, we started the discussion a while back. It's something that a lot of people probably think about, and it's something that's been on my mind lately, is capitalism versus compassion. And the reason that I ask these questions is because I want to know, like, I understand that compassion and things like that are not built into capitalism. It's not implied anywhere in capitalism. And I don't really think you can legislate that kind of thing anyway. You put it down on paper, I don't think it really matters much. But it's just that it almost seems like a lot of people will say that it's devoid. Capitalism is devoid of compassion, and some people will even tell you that it works against you in a capitalist society or situation and business and things like that. And I just wanted to open the discussion up and talk to some people about it and just kick it around and see what comes out. And as we were kicking this around, the homie Keith Murray has showed up. If you know anything about old school hip hop, then you know who Keith Murray is. And he just showed up, going viral in the algorithm this week, telling a lot of, risque stories about his days back when he was on tour and in the middle of the popularity and the riches and all of that kind of shit. And he happened to have one part of this interview where he was talking about Puff Daddy and publishing and things like that. And I think it's a good place to kick the conversation off. But before we get into the video, as usual, I'm assuming that you brothers had an excellent and eventful and abundant week so far.
Absolutely.
Beautiful.
Is there any other kind of week?
For real. At this point, it shouldn't be. We should be enjoying our experience as much as possible.
Dude, eventful.
Oh yeah.
Level 10 dread. Thought he was a Hotep nigga. But then I realized he's level 10.
I didn't even know it went up to level 10. I thought there was only 3 trends. You're telling me since last time we talked about this, there's 7 new varieties that have been discovered?
Now I think it just goes one.
Plenty of black fish.
1, 2, 3, 10. I think that's how it goes. It's just.
The other 6.
Yeah, it's no point in even breaking down everything in between, because I mean, who was the level 3? The level 3s are just regular people. I think the level 10 dread that we first ran into was the guy. Wasn't that Derek Brooks?
Derek Brooks.
He was the level 10, so he's like all the way off the charts with it. So,
he cut his dreads, so you can't cut your dread. You have to cut your dreads and get 10 life sentences to reach that level 10.
Damn.
Yeah, he ain't fooling nobody though. We know what's going on. But I'm gonna drop this video and we're gonna listen to Keith Murray talk a little bit about some of his experiences in the music industry.
When I was 20 years old, Puffy was like, Harv came to me like, I did special delivery, because I spearheaded the song. They called me, yo, Murray, come to the studio, do the song. I wrote the song. I wrote my first. and the track master did the beat. And then Harv come, yo, Puffy want to buy the publishing. Back then, I didn't know about buying publishing.
All right, so before we get a little any further into this, or
First of all, I believe him.
oh, of course,
I believe he knew nothing about publishing.
Definitely
Please continue.
believe
I'm
that.
sorry.
I totally believe that. But also fair use.
Fair use.
Now, I looked this up a little bit. I couldn't find any evidence that, well, and he's talking about the special delivery remix, not the original song. At first, I saw some chatter like people saying that he was writing for a G-Dep or something like that. That's not what that was. There was already a special delivery song already out, and Puff Daddy wanted to do a remix with a bunch of other rappers. So he comes in. I don't know what he had to do. He said he spearheaded the song. I mean, the song fully already existed as far as I know. The beat is the same. The only thing different is, G-Dep had a different verse, and there's a couple other rappers on it. So it was already a popular joint, but Puffy wanted to buy the publishing rights to the remix, is what he's saying. And from there, let him rock. Let's see what he's saying.
Give me $5,000 for my publishing. I took the check and went and bought a Rolex from the Diamond District.
Again, let me just pause this real quick. Yeah, that's probably not a good idea.
Hip-hop niggas should not be making fun of these young niggas. That's all I have to say about that.
Yeah, it's probably not a good idea to get a $5,000 publishing check and then go to, $5,000 check for signing off on your publishing and then go to the Diamond District and buy a Rolex. That may not be the most financially sound decision that you can make. Now, after you get past all of that, Puff Daddy is showing a little bit of scumbaggery here, I have to say. There's a little bit of scumbaggery because why would you want to take this guy's publishing? The only reason you would do that is so you don't have, if the song pop off, if it goes crazy, you don't owe him no more money on the back end. So that is like preemptively fucking somebody over, right? If you're gonna get paid for the song, and there's a possibility that the back end could come and you're like, oh shit, another check. And Puffy was like, you know what? Let's just scrape all of those possibilities right now. I'll give you $5,000.
Yeah, Ye, I believe Ye would refer to Puffy as Jewish.
That's interesting. Right, because that behavior would be considered like Jewish behavior. Like you got gypped or something like that. Like those kind of racial epithets get thrown around. But clearly, the question is, right, is Puff Daddy just doing what shrewd, intelligent business people do? Or is this a behavior that we can really point at an entire group? Like, did they invent that? Was nobody...
Back to capitalism versus
before we even get into that part of it, I don't want to skip over the great example of just the uselessness of tribalism and the lie of tribalism. Because you could look at it as, okay, well, maybe Puffy was a producer on the West Coast and he didn't like New York dudes. Nah, they were both from New York. Yep. They were both from the hood. They were both black, right? Yeah. And you would think if there was any kind of consciousness when people talk about black solidarity or looking at, and all these causes that Puff has got behind, we got to vote, you're going to die, and all this shit like advocating on behalf of or trying to be a spokesperson in any capacity when somebody taps him on the shoulder and says, hey, reel Kanye back in or whatever else he's been commissioned to do. This was an instance where at this time, I think it's 2000, 2001, Puffy's a millionaire.
Yeah.
He's a millionaire.
Already
He's
rich.
up there, top of his world.
He's good. And Keith Murray, he had a okay career. I don't think was ever a platinum artist. You know what I mean? He might have been on some platinum.
Right, yeah. He's been on some big features.
Yeah, absolutely. But as far as his solo career, like he was nowhere near on the level of fame and access to money like Puff was. So clearly Puff's in the power position. And he could have looked at it and said, you know what? This dude, he doesn't have it as good as me. We're both from the hood. We got a similar experience. He's a black man. The black man is God. How could I just fuck him over like that? No, this is his intellectual property. He wrote these verses, and this is something that could get him financial freedom and perpetually cut him a check for the rest of his life.
With no extra effort. So with
Right.
no extra effort from Puffy, there's nothing else you have to do but allow him to collect the residuals that I'm sure Puffy set himself up to collect from the shit that he was working on. So all you had to do was extend this man the same courtesy with foresight that you extended to yourself when you're doing your own paperwork. What would be the motivation to buy off his publishing for $5,000?
No,
Other than to fuck him over. I mean, is
well,
that
I
Think
can't.
about
I
is
can't.
fucking them over.
Well, that's what I'm saying. It was. I have the opportunity. We can argue about whether it's ethical or not, right? Well, why doesn't Keith Murray know about that? You've been in the game for at least 8 or 9 years now. Why didn't you ask your lawyer first? Why didn't you do your due diligence before
Well, he
you
had to go
just
to the
signed
diamond
on for
district.
five?
Fuck a lawyer.
Well, and that's the thing is Puff was looking at it like, look, you don't see the value in it anyway. So since you don't see the value in it, why shouldn't I get a bigger chunk of it than you since you don't see the value of it? Why is that my fault? Why should I be obligated to look after you? But one would think because Puffy plays that game of tribalism and makes his little appearances and says his shit here and there. Okay, if you're really on that kind of consciousness, here was a great opportunity to be like, look, I'm gonna look out for this dude. Like, I'm not gonna capitalize on this opportunity after I'm already a millionaire to put even more in my pocket if it comes at the expense of fucking over another black man who's from the same place that I am. Like, that would be unethically if you're operating on that tribalism shit, which again, I just want to point out that's why it means nothing. It doesn't mean shit. This absolutely proof. So he was engaged in what is attributed to Jewish behavior, right? But yeah, so it doesn't matter. All this tribalism shit, you stick together and do, and think that people are going to look out for you based upon that shit. Obviously, anybody is capable of engaging in that kind of fucked up behavior. And if you're just looking at, the observable shit of whether somebody's going to get down like that, it's foolishness. It's foolishness. Nobody means shit when they talk about it. There's no real loyalty. There's no real allegiance to any kind of cause. People are unscrupulous as fuck. But they'll use that shit if it could make them a little bit more bread.
Right.
Yeah, man,
And
people,
also,
go ahead.
I want to point out also that it is definitely more failure of tribalism if you want to assert that Puffy is just doing what he learned from the white man. That's all you're doing, because like I said, he was already rich. He had no reason to play those calculating games with quote unquote his people. He was outside of that system. It wouldn't have cost him anything. It's not like it would have been some type of extra investment or he had to pay. All he had to do was treat that man accordingly. So if you see this behavior and you try to blame people who are outside of your tribe for seeding that behavior into your tribe, this is just further failures of tribalism, because you're protecting people for engaging in terrible behavior that you claim is not part of your original consciousness. Like Dr. Umar is always saying this bullshit. That's not African.
Not my dick cloud.
Right. That's not African. What the fuck does that phrase mean, bro?
It just means African mumbo jumbo.
Yeah. African mumbo jumbo. That's exactly what it is. Oh, you hit somebody over the head and stole their wallet? That's not African. You're stupid. That's a dumbass phrase to try to stand next to and pretend that it actually has any merit in the real world. I don't think that there are many things. You know what? I'm going to go out on a limb here. Prove me wrong. I don't think there is anything that you can say followed by "that's not African" would be accurate, other than getting snowed in the winter. That's probably not African. I don't think that happens in very many places. So
I'm
other
live
than
in a
shit
cave,
like that,
brother. That's not African.
But you're talking about human behaviors, ideologies, shit like that, and there's
Someone
nothing.
Stealing, someone
There's
committing
nothing you can
atrocities.
say and follow it with "that's not African" and be accurate. I'm sorry. And if there is, I'm totally open to the conversation. Come and tell me a human behavior that is expressly not African. I'd love to hear it. But let me see what else Mr. Murray has to say here.
You know what I'm saying? Then the song was a single. Then it was a video. Then it was popping. Now that's come on. Yo, this is for my the special delivery. Bang your head off this. Up your memory. to this day, and I'm like, yo, because Eric Sherman was like, yo, your publishing is important. He gave me and Redman our publishing. He never messed with our intellectual property.
Wait a minute, pause.
Yep. I know.
So the Redman giving him his publishing was before he got screwed over by Diddy.
Eric Sermon.
So there's no excuse.
He was already cracking with Eric Sermon and Hit Squad. They was already doing their thing. That's how Keith Murray got in. Eric Sermon told him your publishing is very important. But let's keep it real though. I mean, you know what these studio sessions is like. You probably had some chicks in there twerking, probably had some bottles getting passed around, some blunts rolled and shit. Yo, let me give you 5 G's for your publishing, B. So who knows? I don't want to, set the stage that Puffy was really that snake-like. But why would you even offer it though? Like, why would you try to buy the man's publishing out? That's the real question. You already a millionaire.
He knew he could get him.
Right. He knew he could get him, so he took advantage. Now, is that, of course, that's not ethical, right? If you can take advantage of somebody in business.
Is it though?
No,
it's
definitely not
illegal.
Right.
It's like what's
that's the game we're playing.
Illegal, yes. Ethical, it's still questionable because it goes back to saying like, all right, so like an African in Nigeria is emailing you about his kingdom and he needs $100.
Oh, but he's lying though. That's a lie.
But if you give that man that money,
that's true.
You know what I mean? Like you didn't read the email, like you just didn't feel like it was
right. Like they say, a fool and his money shall soon part.
Yeah, there's something to be said about like if you compare it to how some of the pilgrims settled the country when they got here. Like one of the justifications for kind of just taking the land was like, what are they really doing with it? Y'all aren't.
By the way, Canada Thanksgiving is in October. Ours is in November. So you do know what that means, right?
It's cold.
They killed them before us.
Shit.
Good for them.
Wow.
Yeah, wear that around as a mark of honor. All your woke shit.
They got it cracking way earlier. They was like, you know what? I had
it took y'all 11 months to wipe these people out. We got it done in 10 flat. God save the queen.
That's fucked up, bro. That's fucked up. But yeah, ethics, legality. It seems it's a weird conversation, and I'm not really sure why I feel the way I do about it, because legit, you just look at it on paper, and like you said, it just is what it is. I offered to buy his publishing. We can't really dig into why you offered to buy it, or because that's just business. That's how this shit goes.
But he's not doing nothing with it. He was Native American in his publishing. It's like, look,
right?
We're gonna mass produce corn. We're gonna build fucking skyscrapers, spaceships, fake titties, television. There's gonna be all kinds of great shit. If you let our mechanically inclined, engineering, marvelous hands get to work and start utilizing, so y'all are just prancing around and with feathers and fucking and chilling, and that's great, and chopping each other with tomahawks, and that's cool too, and worshiping the natural pantheon. But we got some really good ideas of what we're gonna do with it, and to be fair, you guys have been here for thousands of years and ain't done shit.
They ain't really doing nothing.
We got the Magna Carta. We figured out how to put our faces on fucking coins, and we're harnessing human energy like never before. And we've been doing some dope shit. We're gonna have robots sooner or later. You wait and see. So it's kind of something to say, like, look, Keith Murray, what have you been doing with your publishing and your business acumen and your career? Me, I've made millions of dollars, and I plan on making millions and millions and millions more. And you don't see the value in it. So, I mean, what is that publishing? What's that money going to generate for you? It's going to buy you some more watches. You'll get your publishing, you'll get those checks, and you'll go buy more watches. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to build a fucking empire and sign way more artists, and give them an opportunity to get their publishing bought from them for pennies on the dollar as well. And I'm gonna keep building this shit as big as I can fucking make it. So that's what I'm saying. There's a mentality there of progress and doing something more. And everybody knows somebody like this. Like, yo, let me hold some money or whatever. And in your hands, that money's gonna take care of priorities. It might get a return on its investment. Some of it may be allocated to the savings. Some of it may be allocated to some future investments or whatever, right? But there's some people you can give them that same money and it's going to be gone. There's not going to be anything to show for it. And that's why, like, for some people, when you die, you don't leave your kids a fucking will with just the money. You put that shit in like an annuity or some shit. Like, no, dude, you're getting installments. Like, you're getting a trust, right? And it's going to be held by a trustee, and you'll get a check every month. So, yeah, you're going to get the whole $500,000 in payments, because I know the money in your hands is not good money. The money in my hands is good. That's how I created it in the first place. So I'm going to leave it to a trustee because I know what you're going to do. So in a way, Dr. Umar kind of has a point. There is something to be said about a colonizer kind of way of thinking. You're not going to do something with it. I am going to do something with it. The land is more valuable in my hands. The publishing and the money that it's going to create is more valuable in my hands. I can see that argument, but at the end of the day, would you want, if you were in Keith Murray's position, would you want somebody to do that to you? And that's the ethical line. Like, doing to others as you would have them to do unto you is really, really simple. And obviously Eric Sermon had a deeper relationship with Keith Murray. No, that's my brother. I'm not gonna fuck him out of his shit. I know, as an artist and dealing within this, in EPMD and all, I'm sure the shit that they had to go through with Def Jam, they got hip to it at some point. They were like, nah, I can't let you go out. I'm not, even though you're obviously not paying attention and I could get away with it, you're my guy, dude. I couldn't do that to you.
I'd rather do you right, like, because if like anything crazy happens to you and then like you're broke in the street, that shit would just weigh down on me. So I'm like, I fucking like betrayed this dude in a way.
Yeah, but that's why you're not a millionaire and Puffy is.
Yeah.
And neither is, and Eric Sermon ain't nowhere to be found either.
Too. That's true.
Puffy's the only one still running around, spending money, having parties. Like, the rest
Dressing
of them are
like
nowhere
the
to be
Joker.
seen. Right.
Bro, his kids are running it up right now too.
Exactly.
I wonder what Eric Sermon's net worth is. I mean, he had to have done pretty well for himself.
Yeah. Maybe he's just a quiet living, but I have to think that if he still had the ability to be seen and be making music and like openly doing this, Puff Daddy, DJ Khaled type lifestyle, I feel like he would. You know what I'm saying? Because he was definitely out and about for a long time when he was at the height of his career. So I think if he still had the ability to earn like that at that level and be seen, I feel like he would. You know what I'm saying?
But we'll look at that. So like what you said, Doobie, you would feel shitty, right? And I'm sure Eric Sermon probably would too, right? He had that kind of mindset and that conscience, and he's worth $7 million. Puffy is worth hundreds of millions of dollars. So if someone presented it to you, it's like, look, I could get you $800 million, but this is the level of piece of shittery that you're gonna have to commit to.
Right.
Or you could be righteous, but you're only gonna get 7. You can't say that you would just be cool with the 7.
I would be cool with the 7, but I would still utilize that 7. But yeah, I don't know.
It's a hard one. It's a hard one because I guess it depends on, like Doobie just said, he would use the 7. I think it just depends on how sure you are of your ability to grow your money, right? Because if somebody says, if you do this, I'll let you get to 100 million, but if you do this other set of behaviors, you're only going to make it to 7. Does that mean I'm only going to earn that much money over time, or that's how much I'm going to be worth? Does that mean if I try to get above the 7, you're going to fucking, like Sonny in Philadelphia, you're going to hit me with the 2x4 while I'm trying to crawl up? You're going to knock me down and shit? What does that really mean? Like, how am I sequestered, or just the only thing I can ever have is this amount of money because I didn't do these behaviors? Does that mean I still can't grow it? I can't make smart investments? I can't.
You can grow it, but it's never going to grow at the rate of someone that's willing to do things that violate your conscience. Oh, you want to make this shit cruelty free and now sell these dashikis for 50? No problem.
It's gonna take longer.
That's cool. Listen, we got these kids and their tiny, adorable, achy hands stitching away 24 hours a day, we can get that same product to market for $10. We're gonna outsell you.
Yeah.
We're gonna have way more money available because the margins are better. That we can make it a lifestyle brand, and we can hire actors to advertise it for us. Unless people are really committed to the principle, nobody gives a fuck about your perceivably overpriced, cruelty-free garmentry, sir.
Right.
So it comes down to that there's a demand from people that kind of force it to, or not force it, but it's more inclined to reward that type of behavior. And if you're a person that has a soft conscience and you're competing with somebody who doesn't give a fuck, you're gonna lose in warfare. And what we've made business is kind of, milder warfare. But I think George Carlin described it as it's two people in a room negotiating terms to try to fuck the other as hard as they can. He's like, that's why contracts are the way that they are. And he's like, I forget the way he worded it, but he said, businessmen are full of shit. You know how you know they're full of shit? They don't even trust each other. They write up these long ass contracts because they know the person on the other line is trying to fuck them as hard as possible. How do you win ethics in that setting? How do you have an ethical win there? You're pretty much gonna have to resign to, if I'm not willing to be this cutthroat, I'm just not gonna build as much. But you know what? I think the majority of people would say, you know what, that's all right. I think it even go further. I think that there's a nice chunk of humanity that would say, you know what, fuck 800 million or 7 million. I'm cool if I don't have to do no shit that violates my conscience, as long as I get my needs met.
Yeah,
if I got food, clothing, and shelter, I am good. I will not snake anybody in my circle or take advantage of somebody I don't know if it means that I could sleep at night and I just have my food, clothing, and shelter. I can be content with that.
Well, we say that now, though. We haven't touched that $1 million.
Exactly. That seems to be the
we
magic.
Say that now.
That's where the magic happens. And
because everybody's falls so far.
Yeah.
But then why didn't Eric Sermon fuck him out of his publishing later on? Then he had touched $1 million by then.
Well, he already gave it to him. Who knows what type of business he's into now, though, right? Maybe he learned from his mistakes. He's like, nah, fuck that. I'm dragging people from now on.
I should have fucked them over.
Yeah, I should have screwed more people on the way up. I don't know. That just sucks. But I hear what you're saying. It's like the way that is when you think about just the default configuration of humans, right? Especially in a system that rewards the competition and everything else, because it does inspire people to do more. There's a lot of places in the world where you can see if there's no incentive to outwork or outdo or be, the ingenuity and all of that shit, then, shit'll be screwed even worse, possibly.
We got somebody in the chat who asked the question, what about conscious capitalism, using the profits as a mean to an end?
No, that's awesome. You can do that, but what I'm saying is that's a personal choice that people make. It's not coded into the system itself. And what we're discovering right now throughout this conversation, and what we can see historically, is that compassion in these systems is almost like, it's like sandbagging. You're choosing to carry extra weight in this race. It's clearly a race. We're not saying that you gotta poke the guy next to you with a switchblade. But if you say, I'm going to do things this way, I'm going to be conscious about that, that's you putting weights in your backpack.
It definitely makes the struggle harder to be like 100 millionaire.
Yeah, because nobody else is doing it.
Yeah,
not nobody, but very few other people.
Everybody, the 100 millionaires are cutting corners left and right.
Yeah,
they're having little kids make clothing 24 hours a day, nonstop, little shirtless lists, just making clothes all day. And they're making hundreds of millions of dollars.
Right.
But that's why I think that the better path forward is compassionate consumerism.
Yeah.
Because look how much easier it would be to incent. Like, you could de-incentivize that kind of fuckery if there was a big enough swath of the population that was a conscious consumer. You said, you know what? I'm not gonna stream shit that Puffy gets paid off of. What's a list of songs that Puffy gets a publishing check for? I'm going to make sure to ban all of that shit from my Spotify account. I'm not sending any money to his way. Fuck those songs. I'm not going to do it. Like, oh, the garments are made that way. Word, they got Uyghur fucking concentration camps making those products. I don't need those sneakers. I don't need that computer. You could very easily, you don't, we're holding people accountable like, oh, you're fucked up. You're fucking people over on contracts. That's fucked up. If I was a trillionaire, I wouldn't do that shit. If I was a billionaire, I wouldn't do that shit. Yeah, but you're funding all of this fuckery. The reason why the fuckery is profitable is because you're handing over your money and attention. I'll watch you play basketball. I'll listen to your fucking music. I'll do it. I'll send some bread your way. So people are clamoring like, fuck, there's so much attention and money coming over. How can I rape these people out of their economic opportunities fast enough so I can catch the windfall or the most of it? But really, all of that money evaporates, and then the fuckery of contracts and the fuckery of shitty business practices, it evaporates overnight if there's no market need for it. Right. I think that's a much better strategy. And it also makes us feel better and more virtuous, to point at the people at the top and how unscrupulous they were to get their bag. Like, they're a piece of shit. But it's like, dude, everything from your computer to your clothing to your taste to the music that you like you've handed those dudes money over every day of your entire life being entertained.
Industry, the diamond industry, the gold industry,
cell phones, sneakers. It doesn't stop. And again, complicitous rears its terrible, beautiful head because it's all of us. This is what that is about in essence. It's too easy. They made it too easy. Like you said, money and attention. Some people are actually spending their money directly on supporting horrible companies and shit like that. But some people are just watching football. Or some people are just watching it. They're not necessarily coming out of their pockets.
They're not buying the jersey.
Right. And these
I don't buy music. I've never bought music. Never. The most I've ever done will go pay for your concert and like J. Cole shoe. But other than that, I don't
support your local bootlegger. Especially if you love 90s artists, their contracts were so fucked. The best thing you could do is steal their music. And they're not paid enough that they're untouched. You'll see them walking around if you're in the area where they live, and give dude a 20. When I see Sadat X, I'm giving him $50. I stole it all, but you deserve this, and you're getting more now than if I would have bought your shit. Here you go, sir.
There you go.
You deserve it.
But yeah, and the son just said first world problems, and I agree. It's first world problems, but these are the discussions that have to happen if we want to set. What we're trying to do anyway is build the compendium that breaks all of these ties to this bullshit. Like, I want to understand how I can apply myself to, at the very least, if it's only in my family and amongst the people I love and the people that are closer to me, maybe we can send some ripples out just in our own circle. I know it's not likely to change the world. It's not going to make Jeff Bezos be like, hey, maybe I should do things differently. That's very unlikely. He's made too much money doing shit the way he's done it. But I don't believe that it's the way, or this is what we're trying to, it's just the way that it has to be done, right? Because I'm a person that expects to own multiple properties. I definitely see myself managing businesses or helping or putting some type of energy into a larger empire than just, paying bills till you croak. That's not good enough for a lot of people, especially right now. It's easier now than it's ever been for people to pull themselves out of that mundane check-to-check lifestyle, because there's so many things available to us. The things that were created by the dunking of capitalism, right? The things that were created by kids having to lose their arms in cobalt mines so we can have cell phones to drop ship products from China. I get it. It's all connected. It's all intrinsically connected. And I'm not saying I'm above it, because I want to take part in this too, but I have things that I'm not willing to abandon for me to take part in it, right? So I just want to figure this shit out. These are the things that we have to figure out. Am I okay with stepping on somebody else's back or shooting them down so I can get farther along? Not really. That's not something that appeals to me. It's not attractive to me. Maybe that will slow me down in my process. Maybe it'll make it so you don't get as far as somebody who's willing to do that. But hey, listen, this is why we have these conversations, to figure this shit out. We got to know where we stand in the wholeness of this, so we know how to navigate these issues when they come up. Because there is going to be a time when you're looking at fabrics and a set of swatches when we want to make our Cult of Dangerous Gentlemen dashikis, and the lady's like, okay, well, this one is all organic and the blah blah blah, but this one, hey, look, don't ask no questions, I won't tell you no lies. I want to discuss this now so that I'm not dumbstruck when those decisions pop up. I want to set an index for myself. We've had this conversation 50 times. So when that opportunity presents itself, I don't want to just be like, fuck it, give me the cheap one. I want to reflect on the things that I've already said, the groundwork that I've already laid for the person that I want to be in that situation. So when that situation happens, I make what I consider the right decision. And that's pretty much the sole reason that we have these conversations, because it's all about context. Other people, there's people who could be listening to this eventually that don't give a single solitary fuck. I don't care if Tiny Busy Hands made this t-shirt. I'm selling it. I'm selling it. I got it for $2. I'm selling it for $40. Fuck your life. And he ain't wrong, right? He ain't wrong. The legalities of business, exactly. The legalities of this business allow you to do these things. It's not like the government's going to come storm your house because you had little children making the garments that you sell. You more likely to get your house stormed by the SWAT team because somebody don't like you and called in a fake threat.
That'll get you. Yeah. The government's more likely to hold those children at gunpoint until they're done with their shift.
Right. Let's keep it all the way real. Nike's not hiding their activities. They're hiding them from, the quote unquote leftist consumers that make a big stink about it. They may not want the soccer mom to know who made the shoes that she's going to strap on her kids' feet before they go to practice. Maybe they don't want her to fully know that. They might not want her to see pictures of the factory. But as far as business goes, they're doing what they're allowed to do. They're doing exactly what they're allowed to do. And these first world issues like this definitely trickle down. What do you think would happen in the real three-dimensional world if people were like, you know what? I don't like what Zales is doing with their diamonds and shit. I'm not buying from them no more. Matter of fact, I'm going to find out who supplies them, and I'm not buying from anybody who was supplied by those same people. I don't need a diamond. My girlfriend likes opal anyway. Yeah, my girlfriend likes aquamarine, so we're going to go a different route. What do you think they would do? Do you think they would say, fuck y'all? Or would they be like, hey, look, we don't blow kids up in mines anymore. You guys can start buying diamonds again. It's very likely they would shift if enough people pulled their money and attention out of the pool. Very likely. Not guaranteed, but it's very likely they would make a shift. That's all I'm saying.
So check this out. Chat said, what if Tony Busy Hands making products in his country is a come up for him?
It's not. It's not, because the same capitalism, you know who it's a come up for? It's a come up for the guy who owns the Tiny Busy Hands factory. Him, he's making a come up. The Tiny Busy Hands aren't making a come up. They're working for, a dollar every 2 weeks. They're still poor. So,
let me play devil.
Yeah, but when you're talking about if when you measure those tiny hands wealth, like if the condition of that kid was before they didn't have, guarantee of their meal every day. They didn't have their basic needs met daily. And now that's a much, much easier demand to meet consistently because of the employment, even if it doesn't translate into shit versus our dollars. If in his immediate life there's an improvement, I don't, that is kind of a difficult.
It's relative. It's all relative.
You guys have T-Mobile? You guys have T-Mobile?
No. What's up with that?
You got T-Mobile? You got cool?
I would prefer not to disclose myself. It'll show how poor I am. Yeah.
Listen, it don't matter. But listen, they all outsource. But T-Mobile's my favorite. T-Mobile's my favorite because they outsource to two different people. They outsource to the Caribbean and they outsource to the Philippines. When the Caribbean person picks up the phone, I hang up. You can't get nothing out of those motherfuckers. You can't go, yo, can I make a payment tomorrow, 2 hours too? No, my brother. No. You have to pay it. You have to pay it at this time. If you don't have the money, fuck you. Like, just hang up. Don't even waste your time talking to them. But a Filipino picks up the phone. Yeah, we got you. And how much do you like T-Mobile? Is it great? Is it that? And I've seen a documentary where like the outsourced companies who go out there in the Philippines, for example, and they do the not telemarketing, but the call center stuff. This basically like a whole hotel, because they have daycares, they have everything that that person needs to make sure that they're at work 24/7. Anything that holds you like from going to work, they have it. You know, you have kids, we got a daycare. You need food, there's a cafeteria, McDonald's, all that. You know what I mean? Like, so in a way, it does help them. To me, I guess it does help that person, but it's still like you're not paying them like the equivalent of an American dollar.
Right.
That's outsourced.
Right, but that dynamic really is, there's these emerging economies. They don't have the same infrastructure and opportunities that we do, but they're on the come up. So you can hire them at a much cheaper rate, but it may translate in their country for, like you said, a come up. But it kind of identifies, like, really there's three ways when you're trying to channel human energy of how you're going to be able to do it. Like, you could do it on some Alexander the Great, some China Communist Party shit, and basically like, look, I can kill everybody. We're gonna do what the fuck what I'm telling you to do, right? Like, that's a way to channel human labor. I'm gonna force you. I'm gonna use violence, use slavery, use the law, use these guns, whatever. But we're doing what I want because I have this project in mind. Maybe we're going to build pyramids. Maybe we're going to build call centers. But whatever we're doing it because I'm going to force you to do it. And then the other way is through financial incentive. And when you talk about financial incentive, it's an ugly reality, but nobody wants to work like desperate people. So there's something to be said about having a perpetual unemployment rate, having third world or emerging economies where people are like, look, I'll do whatever for like super duper cheap labor. Like, it meets a business need, and the reality is it's going to exploit, a desperation. But then the other way, like, okay, how do I get people to do things? I can threaten them with violence. I can exploit their desperation, or people would just want to do it. You know what I mean? Is it meaningful? Like, if you're organizing human beings, if human beings were conscious, not just how they invested their money, right, what they buy, but your energy, right? Like, why would you work for a company if you didn't believe in what they were doing? Why would you be a part of an organization or donate money, or, you don't believe in what they're doing? You don't believe in their work or the enterprise. Like, it's impossible. It's not made possible unless you devote something to it. And I think, if you're telling me all three of these things, if these are the only three ways that humanity ever achieves something that's worthwhile, like, to me, ideally, I'd want it to be the third way. Like, let's do dope shit because this is what we want to do, and people believe in it enough that they're willing to devote their time, their work, their energy, their life force to making it happen. Not, they really don't want to be here, but they're desperate. Like, that's pretty much it. Actually, now that I think about it, the economy kind of works like women. Like, I could be with you because you have money, or I'm forcing you to, or I'm exploiting your economic need. Like, bitch, I'm a cave beast you over the head and take you. Or you're poor and desperate, you know what I mean? So you really don't want to be with me, but you don't have any choice. You can't take care of yourself. Or I really love you and I'd like to be with you. So basically, I think I just figured out the economy is coerced rape. And all the economic models we have is there's some kind of rape involved. It is not a loving relationship. We all don't want to be here for the same reasons.
That's a fact. I can't argue with that at all. It seems pretty accurate. It seems pretty accurate. It's just it's a wild situation because, like, one company, like, where I use to get where I get my t-shirts from, Bella Canvas. Now, Bella Canvas figured out a way to build some shops in the I think they got one in Nicaragua, a couple other places, and they've toured the shops. They show people that you can go there and shit, and they're paying what they call a fair wage to the people who live there. It's a dope place. A lot of people work there, and then, like, it seems like it's a great opportunity for the people who live there to raise the economy up, to give I'm sure you're not paying them fucking $10 American an hour, but whatever it is, it makes it worthwhile for them in that place. It's not a sweatshop. They don't do the super exploitive shit, and they're not.
Till they go for a strike.
Yeah, yeah, right. They find out how much they selling the T-shirts for in America. They might switch their game up and like, we want to be paid in American
Because
dollars.
Mexico's known for that, right? Like they had Coca-Cola companies, they go on strike, and the next thing you know, there's a whole set of new people working there.
There you go. Hey, look.
I think you're thinking in Colombia.
Or
There was this
Colombia.
one Coca-Cola factory where they just straight up murked the workers that were trying to unionize.
Damn.
They
Yeah.
just lined them up and shot them. Like, and Coca-Cola, I think they got out of it because they were like, well, we don't own 100% of the factory, so it's not technically us. Yeah, Coca-Cola's made there, but I think they do
In
other
Colombia,
shit
by the way.
Oh
Yeah.
my God. Colombia making Coke, right? A cola, of course. Just so we know, just so we're sure here. But yeah, it seems pretty bad. I mean, I don't know if there's a way for you to really compete on an even playing field in a capitalist society if you take on these extra burdens of how you see compassion and ethics and things like that. Because there's not very many places where it's just part of the law for you to not treat people terrible and not take full advantage. I mean, even a minimum wage, having a minimum wage tells you that if I could pay you less, I would. That's kind of what having a minimum wage says to the worker, just to the world in general. It's like, this is the least they'll allow me to pay you. But if I could fuck you deeper, I would. Trust me. And then people,
Shit.
when you say
On the other note,
there's no maximum wage though.
Amazon pays people over the minimum wage, and they treat them like slaves. Like your 15 minutes is like 5 minutes. Go back to work.
Yeah, they treat them pretty bad. I heard that Amazon workers have like worn diapers and shit and like
Yeah,
pee
and they
in
get paid
bottles.
like pretty good, for like American standards.
But also, if you have a heart attack, they'll just step over your body and drag you out. They won't, you can't take a bathroom break. But if you die on the floor, it's like, bro, get them out of here. Just drag them out the back door and get somebody else in here ASAP.
I'm banned from working there. I can't work there.
How'd you get banned from working?
So just hustling, just getting another job, work from home job, holiday. And then, but I had a real job and I had to go to work. So at the time I was like, I told my ex, I'm like, just answer these calls for me.
Oh shit!
Damn.
I was like, fuck it. I ain't taking it serious. Like, it was just, don't get me wrong. Like, I was getting like 1,000, two here or there. But
So
I
that's
didn't,
technically slave labor, right?
yeah.
So they was
That's
paying
exactly
you,
what that
and you
is.
made her do the work for
I
free.
made her do the work for me. Yeah, I'm like, you got this.
But you were you married at the time?
Yeah.
Oh well, that's fair then. Don't worry about it. You good?
She's your property.
Yeah,
It's
you
by
own
tradition.
her. It's in the Bible.
It was written.
Yeah, it's in the Bible. You own her, so she has to do what you say. She can't talk
But
back.
it always makes me think, though. It always makes me think about that situation. I was like, if only it was like a man I would have played my voice, how long would I have stretched it?
Right, yeah, because they wouldn't have no
I
way
would
to
have did
know
some
it.
overtimes. I would have did some overtimes, and it wouldn't have been me being involved in that.
You got to train your kids to take the call and put one of them
You know what I'm
voice
saying?
changes, on them, make it sound like it's an adult. Yeah, it's crazy, man. I mean, I'm looking at it so closely because, when you start to try to build your own business and you're looking into things, and you get these times where you do kind of visualize what could happen if something went viral, if things go crazy. You think about what your next steps might be. And as I look at business and I hear people talk, especially, there's people like Dan Pena and fucking, there's a few of them, but they talk so, like, I don't know, it's just disrespectful about how people need to act and be, and, don't give a fuck about nobody else. And in objective reality, that is a legitimate path to being successful. It is a legitimate path to being successful. Like you said, art of war shit. If they're willing to attack you while you're sleeping, but you have the ethics, so you're like, we're not going to kill them while they're sleeping. We're not going to kill no women and no children. And they're just like, we killing everything at all hours of the night. We don't give a fuck. I mean, it doesn't take a genius to know who's going to win that skirmish there. You're going to get hacked up in your sleep. That's just the way it is. And capitalism seems to be the same way. But mostly because of, like I say, what humans are in their current configuration. If capitalism says buy low, sell high, right? Just as a principle. Don't buy high and sell low. You're going to fuck yourself. You're going to lose all your money. So you buy low, you sell high. That doesn't mean that you go build a factory and have the factory surrounded by armed men, or you send children into a mine to get cobalt and diamonds and shit so you can sell them. That's not what that means, right? So it's not like this is what you have to do to be successful. And then they always blame the people people who are getting paid. So if Wendy's pays you $17 an hour, $20, whatever it is people asking for, if Wendy's pays you $20 an hour, that means burgers are going to cost $40.
Yep.
That's not true, though. That's not true. The CEO of Wendy's is probably making a lot of fucking money, right? So if Wendy's pays their workers a little bit more, that doesn't necessarily have to trickle down to a more expensive burger. It could just trickle down to you making $11 million this year rather than 15. Now, should you take a $3 million?
That is true. That is true in a sense, but it's just, if you're gonna pay these people, let's say $20 an hour, and then, it does
There's
fuck
not
with your money.
$20 of value.
It does fuck with your money, but as far as like you don't really need to change anything because you've already paid these people $7 an hour. If all the money gets taken from the people of the board, where you were making 20 million, now you're gonna make 11 million, but like the price of everything is still the same. Like the price.
But it's what you're responsible for. Like all you're responsible to do is flip the shit when the timer goes off. That's your only responsibility. Show up and press a button. That's all you have to do. The CEO has to be responsible for legal actions, lawsuits that are coming up, right? Like, are we in compliance with X, Y, and Z? What are we doing in the marketplace? Like, how is our stock price? Like, what is our relationship with the media? Are we getting good press? Are we getting bad press? Like, and they're working 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, basically. Something goes wrong, they're getting notified. You know, like and you're responsible for maintaining what? Tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of jobs, right? And so what the level of skill it takes to be able to manage that is a lot more skill than pressing the button, dipping the fries. You know, like there is a higher degree of difficulty that does warrant a lot more. And you know what? Like, it's maybe you don't have a livable wage, but you also have an opportunity to move on and do something else. Like, you're engaged in a relationship. Like, I don't really need you to be that smart or be able to solve this many problems. I just need you to show up and press this button, and we're good. If you can, pretty much anybody can do that, but are you willing to do that? Like, yeah, I'm willing to do that for a while. I'm not going to do it forever. I wouldn't expect you to. Like, we're always hiring and firing people, but can you show up and do it for a little while? And some people will take that opportunity, and whatever skills that they learn from there, they'll go and get a better job eventually. And then there'll be an opening for somebody else who's starting out and needs an opportunity.
Oh, they're not even thinking about that. They're making robots now. They said, "Fuck y'all."
Yeah, they're done. but it was ridiculous.
Flip a burger.
It was ridiculous to request $20. I thought they were ridiculous when they were talking about 15. 15.
Well, only because I think we got to take into consideration here too. Right, that's just been rising consistently, and there's no way in the world
not Wendy's fault.
But there's no way. But if the minimum wage is based on right your ability to survive in the world at the current time that they set the minimum. When they said $7 an hour for minimum wage, a gallon of milk was like $1.50 or $2 or some shit like that. Now it's up to like $5. Everything else has gone up exponentially. But if the minimum wage is based on surviving the world, the least that you need to survive. I mean, what is the minimum wage? What is it based on? Is that the least money that you need to survive? Or is it the least money just you're allowed to pay a person?
But what's the most people that you've lived with at once that were not your family members?
Oh, that was not my family? Maybe I think 3.
Okay. I think I was either at 5 or 6. I can't even remember. We've all, when we didn't have enough money to have our own spot, this uncomfortable, unidyllic situations that you're gonna have to your living situation. You don't make enough money to have the living situation that you want. I don't have enough money to have Corinthian columns lining up in my walkway. I don't have that money. And some people don't have the money to have their own space. They just don't. You don't make enough. You can have a plan to get it. That's why people have goals. Like, look, my living situation can't be what I want right now because I do make the minimum wage. So my living situation is I've got a bunch of roommates. But I've got a plan to not be in that situation. So I'm working and I got goals to do something else. Like, I get what you're saying. Like, hey, if it's a minimum wage, it should be a minimum to live. But we all know people that they could be pulling in 10 grand a month and it would be all gone. And there's people that we know that were making $8 an hour and found a way to be cheap as fuck and save like 30% of it every month, and then to make a move with that other money. Like, a lot of it has to do with balancing your wants and your desires. So in this culture, we got people with a whole bunch of wants. Like, the baseline level of existence is homeless people with fucking smartphones. I saw a video of this dude. It was like some fight or kerfuffle with some cops at like it was at a park, but the park had basically just become a homeless encampment. And as the cop is tuning the dude up for resisting arrest, everybody, they're intense, they're filthy, they're all filming it on their smartphones. So you got no house, you live in a tent, but you got cigarettes and smartphones. I don't know. I don't know if I gave you $10,000 a month, I feel like you would just have bigger tents and more cigarettes, but you wouldn't build or do anything. Like, people find a way to survive, and I don't know that it makes a lot of sense to connect how much you make, and that has to give you a baseline level of existence, because everybody doesn't agree what that is. And there's people that spend every penny that they get, and there's people who are like, yo, if I make this much, my standard of living, I have to live under what I make. My standard of living has to be below my means, not at my means. And, a lot of people are living above their means, so it doesn't matter how much, they'll find a way to get rid of it and not hold on to it. So I don't know, man. I don't know if it's a good argument to say the minimum wage has to basically take care of another human being, especially if it's the minimum wage, because it's also the minimum amount of skill, the minimum amount of sacrifice and dedication. We've all had easy jobs and hard jobs. Like, it's just not, it's not a job that takes a lot of brain power to show up and be like, yo, I'm on fries, you owe me $20 an hour. How the fuck are you gonna dip fries in here in this grease if you don't have me? However will this organization continue to go on in my absence?
We could say something very similar about a lot of the government jobs, especially people who work in government buildings and shit. They just sit around and make people's lives miserable all day. Yeah, I got to get up and walk over to the other side of the room to file this paper. I'll do it later. And they're less labor intensive with less skill based work to do, but they make big money with benefits and everything else. And who are they really serving for the most part? Really, like when it really comes, I'm not talking about everybody all the way up, but a lot of people, city hall jobs and shit like that. I've had meter people come here to read my meter high on pills. Like, you get out of your truck, you aim the little UV gun at the meter, you read it, you push a button, you get back in your truck and you drive. Is that not a minimum wage job? But this guy's got insurance. He's making, you know what I'm saying? He's making enough money to pop pills all day. Right. System is rigged. Absolutely.
And they can't get fired. It's a guaranteed check. Right, and yeah, look, I'm down to defund a lot of that shit.
Like that too.
It's all corrupt. It's all. Yeah, so I get what you're saying. Yeah, the government found a way for people to not do shit, and still, like, you're getting a pension, you're getting higher than the average wage. If you don't do what you're supposed to, you're not going to get fired. Like, yeah, there's some cushy setups like that, and it's despicable. But I think arguing about the minimum wage doesn't solve the problem, because fucked up people are always going to find loopholes. Yeah. Like, the issue is the soldiers don't have a vision. Like, you gave the example of, okay, the commander is like, well, we're not going to kill them in the sleep. That's unethical. And the other commander is like, fuck it, let's kill them in their sleep. They'll win. The commander cannot go kill them all in their sleep by himself. He has hundreds
Right.
and thousands of people lining up like, look, I don't know what life's about or what I should be doing. So let me suffocate these babies in their sleep because we want to win the war. And this is what we're going to do. But the moment that the soldiers said, nah, that's unethical, we're not doing that. And what? They're going to make an example out of one of them. But if all of them were like, no, it violates all of our conscience, all of our principles, we'll kill the commander before we do that. That takes an educated populace that has a vision. If the leader's not here, what would be our ethics? What would be our course of action? What would we be doing? And so those people get paid what they get paid because human beings need shepherds. So they need to be told what's right, what's wrong, what's ethical, what's not ethical. And if you put it in front of them and you frame it a certain way, they'll just go along with it. They'll give you their dollars, they'll give you their human energy, they'll give you their attention, they'll give you whatever you tell them they should be doing or should be focusing on. But that scenario only changes and the fucked up shit doesn't happen is when the masses of people have a different vision for how things should be. And because they don't have that, we have a minimum wage. There's a whole bunch of aimless people wandering around and they don't have a vision for what they should be doing or what they don't. And so you fall into a gig like that. That's not something you plan because you have options. Like that's the prostitute. That's the reluctant OnlyFans girl. That's what that is. No fast food place ever hired somebody who was like, look, this has been my dream. Like ever since I was a little boy playing with rocket ships, I was like, I can't wait to watch the NASA space launch from behind this fryer. I can't wait to just look out the drive-through window and see that rocket go up in the air because I've dreamed about this job. Nah, that's some shit where you got no vision and you fall into it. And, you know, there's somebody who's trying to make money who you could say they're taking advantage of it. But really, look, what the fuck were you going to be doing if I didn't put you on fries? What was your vision of your life? What were you studying to do? Like, what are we going to do with all these people? People need some shit to do. Fuck it. I made it basically you could do this in your sleep. Do you think you can handle that? Do you think you could stop doing fucking fentanyl long enough to show up and hit the button every 5 minutes? I'll give you some money if you want.
I'm starting to see how the Indians got fucked over. I see it.
Yeah.
I'm visualizing the caveman I can see a caveman.
Oh no, I don't blame you.
Let us use the land. We can build shit on it. You're not even doing anything with it.
Dude, I saw a
You showed us how to cook, clean, how to grow food. Let's cut down these trees. Y'all can live over there, the corner. Just let us figure this out.
There's gonna be some awesome shit coming down the line. I promise.
I promise.
Yeah,
Just
you're gonna have a
there.
Starbucks one day.
Stay over there.
Look, I saw a video recently of a person analyzing the movie Avatar and explaining why the humans were the good guys in that movie. And I was like, you got a pair on you, bro. You know, so I just watched the video and I listened. He had like these 10 points or whatever of why the humans were the good guys. And most of it was that sentiment. It was like, you know, these people are just hunter-gatherers. They're not really doing anything. So the humans are almost dead because they've almost killed their own planet. We need this stuff that you have, and it's like unethical for you to not let us come take it. So technically they were the bad guys. And I was just, as you listen to them, like it was so nonchalant how it just rolls off the tongue. Like they weren't really doing anything. They were just over there like laying around in the grass and they was hunting a little bit, but they weren't industrialized. It's not like people were making use of their time. And one of the points that he made, of course, I've heard this made before, but in the context of colonialism, he was saying that when you industrialize certain tasks, when you start to do more farming and you assign different things to different people, you can expand because it makes life simpler, and then you have more time to kind of just sit around and think of new shit. Like if everybody was constantly working and hunting and gathering, like that's all you had to do with your whole day, you don't really get much philosophy from that. You don't get guys sitting around in their robes saying, well, if a tree falls in the woods, you're like, yo, shut up. Where's the spear? We got to go fishing. Like
If
we
you
don't
put
have
it
time.
in the pudding,
Right. We don't have time for y'all to be sitting around here talking about ephemeral fucking nebulous ideas. We got to go catch some food. If you don't have refrigeration so you can catch a bunch of food and put it somewhere where it's not going to rot, or if you don't know the techniques to make it last, you constantly hunting, constantly trying to just feed yourself and stay alive, and you don't really have the time or energy to advance, which is why capitalists and colonialists created that situation. They made it so people's lives were simple so they could advance, but they also trap you so that only certain people are going to advance because you're still in that difficulty and anxiety of existence. And that's where it's the hardest, well, for most people, that's where it's the hardest to build yourself out of it. Some people do. Some people manage to. If you got a specific skill, if you can sing, you got a nice jump shot, shit like that, there's some things you can do to change it. Some people are just more business savvy and conscious about things. People is like, when I'm young, when I went to buy juices for 25 cents and I sold them for 50 and like work my way up, now I'm a multimillionaire. That shit does happen. But the grandness of the population, most people are just so caught in the activities of the day. Before you know it, you've been at work, you've been out of your house 10 hours a day just trying to make enough to pay rent, and by the time you sit down and kick your feet back, it's like, okay, am I gonna brainstorm about how to break this cycle, or am I just gonna fucking watch some Netflix and eat ice cream so I can go to sleep for tomorrow? So I mean, I guess it is what it is.
This does put it on the forefront that there is a genuine crisis when it comes to this thing, but you're not being sincere or honest about what really goes into either side if you insist on framing it in terms of good or bad. Like that's a juvenile, unsophisticated take. It's really pros and cons. There's a pro to getting $5,000 right away. There's a con to not being informed about what the fuck your publishing is or how important it is, or not understand the nuance of it. Like there's a pro in willing to be unscrupulous and buy somebody's publishing for $5,000. The con is maybe people will give you a bad reputation and think you're a piece of shit and not stream your music, or one would hope you would have some sort of conscience that would fuck with you and make you feel a little shitty and compel you to want to make right on it. But I think the right answer that kind of exposes this whole thing that you've brought up and you're kind of dissecting is the right answer for that avatar shit is like, look, you've destroyed your planet with unobtainium abuse. Yes, you've made some progress, you've come up with some cool shit. As you can see here, we've been fucking fine ass blue bitches like Zoe Saldana, and we've never run out of unobtainium. So you're at an unobtainium deficit. This is what we'll do. It would be unethical for us to just let us, for you just to die off, right? You have an ethic compulsion in that it's ethical to take care of your family and your people that are destroyed on your planet by your bad decisions. And it was because of unobtainium abuse. You guys were snorting in bathrooms and mainlining it right into your veins. You couldn't get enough of it. So we're going to give you some unobtainium so your civilization doesn't die off. But first we need to sit down and write out a budget. I need to know what you're going to be doing differently with this unobtainium. Because you're going to be back in another 1,000 years and take the rest of the unobtainium when you fuck it up again. So you've come to this moment of crisis where maybe you got too good. You got too efficient at farming. You got too efficient at technology. You learned how to do things better than ever. And yeah, maybe that dude doesn't have to go spearfish, so he got to think and read Kierkegaard and fucking Descartes, whatever. Yeah, he was a really thoughtful dude and some cool ideas came, but you've destroyed everything with that free time. So you haven't gotten the ethical component of once you get really good at solving these systems and you can solve problems faster than ever, what are you going to do as a civilization to have some sort of governor on the ethics of how you utilize that technology? Because obviously whatever plan you had in place, maybe you're not a religious people or whatever, but whatever plan you had in place obviously didn't work. You fucked up. You brought your civilization to the brink of destruction, and now you're coming here to fuck our women and take our unobtainium because you fucked up. So we'd love to be compassionate towards you and hand it over. What are you going to do differently? And I think this is essentially what humanity is facing. Like, yo, we've gotten really, really good at solving problems with technology. There's a lot of ugly fallout culturally, violent fallout from wars and how we solve problems. So, what are we gonna do differently? So, when all of this shit falls apart, and it probably will, we are gonna need leaders. We are gonna need people that know how to organize people. But what's the set of values that's gonna be centered around, and how educated is the populace gonna be when they decide what what roving gang in post Mad Max that they want to join?
Right.
Oh, you guys aren't raping and wearing spikes? I'm gonna hang out with you guys. Let's build a fence of abandoned cars to keep away the roving bandits or whatnot. Like, yeah, so what's your new idea for organizing? And when people have to invest that energy in what they want to build, when everything is destroyed, you could build differently. And I guess the value of the conversation is like, if this shit does fall apart, we still would want to get back to this level. What would we do differently so we don't run out of unobtainium? And if it's not gonna fall apart and it just needs to be reformed, like, what have we learned from all of this that's gonna influence our ethics moving forward? Like, it can't just be this childish, stupid shit. Colonization is wrong. You shouldn't have took the land. You shouldn't have done this. Well, undeniably, there was progress.
Right.
Undeniably, we all have all of this cool shit and all of this conveniences, but what's the right balance to strike? Let's keep getting things more convenient. Let's keep helping people. Let's keep making life a little bit easier for as many people as we can, but maybe not utilize this shit to the point that we're bringing everything to the point of collapse by just overusage and not being wise about how it's distributed, or not having a population that cares if things are being done unethically by the leadership, that they would be willing to divest their energy and their consent and their money from places of organized and consolidated wealth and influence that doesn't line up with their values.
Right. Yeah, that's facts. I can't argue with none of that. It's the truth. It's the absolute truth. I think a lot of people who I was watching something earlier today. I think it was a Kevin Samuels video. He was talking to a woman who was saying that she doesn't think money should be a factor in how you judge people and mate selection and all of these type of things. And he asked her about her own life, and she's like, yeah, I live at home with my parents, and my dad's rich, and like all this shit. And why this creates this for a lot of people, it seems like that second generation, they're so chill, they don't really have anything to worry about, so they create this conflict in their own minds, and they become anti-capitalist. But the only place you get to become an anti-capitalist is from privilege.
Oh,
Right?
yeah. Most
I don't think
definitely.
there's any poor people in the world who don't know where their next meal is coming from. Who don't got a good pair of shoes, and they're like, capitalism sucks. I don't think any of them think that. The only way you get to anti-capitalism is by living a really comfortable, privileged life, and also being ultimately unfulfilled with that privileged life. Because some people are just having a great time and they love capitalism.
It's like emos. They dress all in black. They work. They color. They paint their nails, and they do all this shit. But when you go to the mall and see how much their clothes cost, it's like,
Right.
what are you guys mad about?
Right.
You're paying that much
Yeah, I've
to
been to
look
Hot
to look
Topic. I've seen
to look
the
fucking
prices in
dead.
Hot
Like,
Topic.
what's going on? What's going on?
You got this fire dead aesthetic going on, but all your clothes, yeah, you're paying almost just as much as a lot of high end brands and shit like that. What are you really sad about? You could buy these nice Doc Marten boots and like all this cool shit. Same thing with the people who are protesting, the leftists protesting the government and everything else. They're filming their protests with iPhones. They're taking in the morning before they go throw a Molotov. They got to have a nice coffee from Starbucks, because I can't be throwing Molotov cocktails until I've had at least one latte. It's like, do you even know what's going on right now? But I guess for some reason it's just cool to some people to be anti-capitalism, in theory, because very few people, I don't know of many people who have a legitimate movement in a capitalist country, in America, where you purposely renounce all of the privileges and comforts and things like that come with the society that you claim you hate. I don't see many
Which you
people
could
doing
do.
that. You could. You
Which you
definitely
have the
could.
freedom to do. It's much harder to live in a socialist or communist country and be a capitalist and practice capitalism. The government won't let you. But you have the freedom here if you really think everybody should be paid the same thing. And there are people that do live out their values. They'll open a factory and they'll be like, look, the CEO and the average worker, we all make the exact same salary. We just, it's different divisions of labor. There's different responsibilities, but we think we should all get the same thing out of this venture. You could do that. You could absolutely do that. But how many people are actually practicing that?
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, yo, Alec Baldwin, you could pay your fucking, what's it, au pair? You could pay that bitch exactly what you get paid to direct a movie. Like, hey, you direct my life. You take care of my children. You wash the shit stains out of my drawers. Maybe I should give you a nice livable wage. Nah, you don't even have paperwork. I'm going to give you what I can give away with getting you. So again, nobody.
And I'm gonna
lives up
write
to
that
the
off.
value.
I'm gonna write that off so
Right,
the
right,
government
right.
pays me back. Oh, this shit's amazing. I love it, man. It's a lot to unpack. It's a lot to think about. But I think just the fact that I'm curious about it just lets me know that I don't know. I just have something else going on in my brain. A lot of the shit that I see, I would want to do things differently. But until I'm like, until I got $600,000, $700,000, $800,000 to spare, the shit I'm talking right now don't really mean nothing. Because until you see those numbers in your bank and things start to come up where you're like, well, do you want to take the opportunity to help these people over here? It's only going to cost you $100,000, and then you're like, damn, well, I only got $700,000. That means I'll be down to $600,000.
These
right?
motherfuckers over here with their pants down for 10 generations.
Right.
Do I really?
They
Do
were
I
sagging
really?
their pants for 10
For
generations.
10 generations.
Why would do I really want to give them money? I don't know. Maybe I'll just have somebody write a book. I'll hire somebody to write a book. We'll sell the book, and then the proceeds from the book. And before you know it, you're just like D.L. Hughley. You're like, nah, I just don't care no more.
Nah. Well, at that point, your return on investment is the improved condition of their lives.
Right.
And that takes some buy-in from the people that you're helping. And if there's no, because you're not getting I donated $100,000. You know you're not getting 135 back. You know you're not you know there's not more coming. It's gone. But what you're investing in is okay, my results are, did this really do anything? And again, that's why most people are absolutely why is Kanye and Nas not saving the hood? They've given up on it too.
Yeah.
Ice Cube moved away, Nas
Absolutely.
moved away, Mobb Deep said they wouldn't, but they still moved away.
Ice
Of
Cube
course
tried
you
to come
did.
back. They made fun of him. It's like, yo,
Exactly.
you don't know what you
Right.
want.
And that's the thing. Think about how much when you a poor righteous teacher, right? It takes a lot for you to give up on your people because you understand their struggle, and plus you down there with them. So a lot of that anger and shit won't be pointed directly at you. People might clown you a little bit. The drug dealers be like, yo, we ain't giving the kids the park. We gonna keep selling drugs here. And you like, come on, brother. The children need some place to play. So y'all had that kind of conversation. But then if you fuck around and get rich, it's not just the drug dealers, the terrible people who want to talk shit to you. It's going to be a regular person who thinks you're not doing enough. She going to be like, look at this uppity nigga. And you going to be like, see, I was about to buy your groceries, but fuck you, bitch.
Yeah, I've done that once. I've done that once. I used to go like give stuff to homeless people, right? So one time, like we had the idea, let's give them clothes because it was getting cold.
Oh, shit.
So I probably had like $300, and we went to like the thrift store, and we went to a thrift store, right? And like the lady was giving us attitude, and we're in a thrift store. This is not like the high-end thrift store, whatever you call the other place. It's like a regular somebody's backyard, like they get close together thrift store. But like we needed help with the clothes, and then she's like, "Oh no, we're not gonna help you. We don't do that." I have $300 in my pocket.
Wow.
I just walked out. I was like, "This is what I'm talking about. Like, I'm trying to help people. Y'all motherfuckers over here giving attitude and shit."
I used to go through a ritual like every couple of years where I would just give all my shit away, like, and you would see. So you'll definitely get the time frame, but like all of a sudden you'd be walking around and you'd see like a homeless dude in a super fresh, clean, like brand new, like Mark Buchanan sweater or an Echo shit, like damn, that shit is fly as fuck for homeless. I would just give everything away. It's like a cleansing thing that you do to show like I'm not attached to all of this shit. It's like something for the sake of conscious, like you can't be that tied and that in love with the material or you will compromise your ethics. You won't be able to resist if you love the shit too much. But I learned in like I would go around, I would try to find like homeless people to go take like to a fucking buffet or some shit and go around and and try to just do shit like that. Like give away clothes, get meals, and eventually you start learning like okay, this is a random act of kindness to do some good shit, and yeah, maybe for your own personal spiritual growth is good. You do without something so you can share something with somebody else. Like it's a good exercise for your soul. But when you get to the reality level of like solving that problem and helping out people that don't want to help themselves, you can't help. There's nothing you can do. Like and you could just go to a couple AA meetings and just completely understand and get that down. You know what I mean? Like you're not a person who doesn't want to change their life and doesn't want to do anything differently. You can't throw money at that. You can't donate that into change. So I get the sentiment of Ice Cube. Like, okay, well I came back 20 years later and you motherfuckers are doing the exact same shit. Actually, now it's even worse. So guess what? I brush my teeth with caviar 3 times a day. I don't have to deal with any of this shit. So at some point, it's not even I'm out of touch, and my soul and my spirit is so tainted that I don't have any compassion or generosity that I would want to try to help. I just see that this thing is just really a gesture for me. This kind of makes me feel good that I've given something back, but what I gave back didn't do anything. So you know what I think would be better? That same money, let me just let it keep going on and make my legacy live on even longer. Because I think this $100,000 is a better use in my son's hand, who I'm teaching how to invest it and how to grow it, than it is throwing it somewhere because out of some tribalistic impulse or demand, I have to part with it to show that I'm committed to something, but the people there aren't committed to making a change. That's why if Kanye wouldn't have blew his fucking money on going after the juice, I wish he would have called us to advise him.
Man,
so we could have saved all of those billions of dollars. Like you were already doing it, dude. You had those little fucking all-terrain vehicles going out there building Wyoming. You had the compound. You had the vision. You couldn't keep your mouth shut to not offend the juice in order to keep, like, you should have bought the compound where you were insulated and you had tens of thousands of people there for getting ready for the David Koresh standoff, and then started talking that shit. That's when you talk the shit, when all the money's tied up in land and real estate, not when it's sitting in Chase Bank and an account that Adidas owns. So you should have reached out.
Bad move.
It was a super bad move. But if you're there and you say, look, I'm not sending $100,000 to the hood. I'm not gonna do it. It's not gonna do anything. It'll get me some publicity. I'll give $300,000 right here and bring the parts of the hood that want to come here for something better. That's how you do it. That would have been the wise way to do it.
It seems like a smarter investment.
Way to do it.
Yeah, absolutely. That's the only way to do it.
Go to a hood and fix it. You might as well just look. Y'all niggas come over here.
Also,
it ain't gonna happen.
What's the real value in attacking the structure when the structure is what allows you to get the money that you get? Like I've said this before, there was somebody I followed on Instagram for a while, and she's teaching people how to file paperwork the right way so you don't got to pay a bunch of taxes, how to do your LLC and all of this shit. And the whole underlying idea of her, her teaching is because the government's terrible and fuck Uncle Sam and all this shit. And I'm like, isn't Uncle Sam the one that made the LLC laws for you to jump through all these loopholes and tell people how to save on their taxes? Like, so why are you so mad at them if they left the back door for you to go through that you can legally save money on taxes? It doesn't
That's
make
what Trump
sense for that.
does.
It don't make sense that you would be angry at them while using the techniques that they put in place to get yourself rich. It doesn't make any sense. What is the value that you get from talking about what the juice is doing? They don't want this. They don't want that. What they did was allow you to become a fucking billionaire. You could fund anything you want to fund right now. Anybody who you think's talking, if he liked Dr. Umar, you could put $100 million in Dr. Umar's pocket and be like, yo, finish the school, B. Finish the school, hire the teachers, and overpay them for the next 5 years. You could have done that. That solves literal problems. What does it do for you to go on a defamation tour and just talk shit on radio shows? The people, they were behind the scenes. Yeah, but you beat the game already. You beat the game. You're a billionaire. What is there to complain about? That's where the psychosis comes in. Because who is it that you're trying to impress? Who are you trying to get in league with? Are you just mad because they wouldn't let you into their secret eyes wide shut parties? Is that what this is about? You wanted to be on the inner circle, but they only let you into the inner circle, so you pissed? I don't get it. I don't understand why you would commit self-sabotage, fucking social harry-carry like that, just so you could have bragging rights to say that you talked a bunch of shit. It doesn't make any sense when you have the actual revenue and resources to make literal change in the three-dimensional world. You have it. The shit that everybody else is complaining about, you beat that game already. All you got to do is scour the internet, figure out who's doing the shit that you think is powerful, who's feeding them, who's starting breakfast programs, who's teaching kids, who's got the homeschooling programs in the hood, who's trying to, whatever it is, you could just almost indiscriminately throw money at it. Not counting your business savvy and something. You could just be, you need $100,000 to start a business, I'm giving 200 people $100,000. What does that do to your bank account? Not much, especially if you broadcast the fact that you're giving all these people money. That's going to bring you more money and more recognition. When you get that type of bread, it's very difficult to lose it in actual business, because you understand things. You put this here, you do that, you put this here, you write that off. But if you're just out here talking crazy, I don't even know what the purpose is. If you have $1 billion in the bank, who could you possibly say is a nefarious cabal that's out here trying to stop black men from getting money? You got $1 billion. And I know, outliers, that one black man having $1 billion don't mean blah, blah, yeah, I get all that. But how they let him slip through the cracks? It's because they're so smart. They knew he wasn't going to do shit with it. They knew he was going to burn it all down one day anyway. So them the only people that they let get the money is the people who they're sure won't. Okay. That's giving them a lot of credit. The mystical they. That's giving them a whole lot of credit and foresight. It doesn't add up to me.
Well, they don't call it white supremacy because they're not supreme. I mean, let's give them some credit.
Right, yeah, let's give them some credit.
It's white supremacy, and nobody's whiter than the Jews.
That's true. This is true. I mean, well, even though white people don't accept them as white, but everybody else on the planet,
we do. We accept them as white.
Yeah, 100%.
Contrary to any film that may have been recommended by Kyrie Irving, I'm just saying.
Hey,
I'm just saying.
Well, so, that's why they're Jewish and not just Jews.
But it is. There's this huge boogeyman, and it's the excuse to not do shit. But even in Kanye's situation, I will give him his, I don't want to say he exposed handlers, but he made it so that it's no longer like a speculative conspiracy theory type. Like, yet the government hires people to manage influential people. Like, that's beyond, that's not something that people should be arguing about anymore. Like, there was some value in what Kanye did, but I hate to see him be to have no pragmatism.
No, he fumbled the bag.
To sacrifice the money, dude.
The money
could have done shit.
He fumbled the bag because like even if he said, like, even if we freeze it like before like all the Nazi shit and Hitler shit, like he had it to a point where people were like who thought he was crazy, but yet people were like, but he's saying all this and they're blocking him. Because think about it, right? Chase blocked him from just saying stuff, but they fired the lady from the island who's gonna sue Chase for having the account for your boy Epstein Island.
A black woman at that. A powerful black woman who happens to be an attorney general. She is she probably voted for Joe Biden so she could remain black, because if you didn't vote for Joe Biden,
You're not black.
And she said, "Listen, Chase Bank saw all this suspicious activity that they're supposed to report. They didn't report it. I think we should look into that, Mr. President. Bitch, you're fired. Get out. Pack your shit. Get the fuck out." So I don't know. I think that affirms Kanye shit. If nothing else, I wish people would just be kind of more in tune just to see that hypocrisy.
Yeah, that I noticed. If anything, I'm like, wait a minute, like that was like in your face. Like y'all telling me y'all didn't see like the rug just being pulled under? Like that was like in your face.
Kanye didn't even own an island that was dedicated to pimping underage sex workers. He didn't even have underage child fuck island.
Maybe that was the problem. Maybe that's what he fucked up at.
He just said, hey, maybe the juice is into some bad shit. Maybe they own islands where they fuck kids and then there's bankers that cover for them. Maybe, I don't know, I'm just taking stabs in the dark. Maybe the juice is involved with that. And they were like, you're absolutely right. Take your money and get the fuck out.
See, if you really want to solve these kind of problems, you don't go on Nori's podcast, The Drink Champs, and talk about it. What you do
if you want to solve problems at all, Nori can't be involved.
He can't be involved at
sure.
all. He can't know about it. He can't be involved at any level. What you do is you take a bunch of money and you hire the Fast and Furious team. You just send in like 8 guys with souped up cars, and they'll solve it. They would have got to that island. They would have beat Epstein's ass. They would have got all the footage, and they would have released the blacklist.
They would have drove their car to the island.
Of course. They would have put all their Hummers on jet skis and just drove them over there and beat everybody's ass. That's what you do. You hire hitmen. You hire Jason Statham to go, cut a hole in the window with a glass cutter and swing in and snap necks silently and leave. You don't talk about it on a podcast, bro. This is how real rich people solve their problems. Motherfuckers get heart attacks. They die in prisons when the camera's not working. And I'm not saying that's the ethical way to do it. But if you truly believe that these people are terrible and they're hurting other people and they're killing, if that's what you really believe, you got to play the game they playing. What you think you're going to do on a podcast, B? Nothing. Except for toot your own horn about being brave enough to talk about it. It's like the conspiracy theorists. If you really believe all that shit is true, why do you have a YouTube channel?
Right, it's the same thing with the church when they be talking about the mark of the beast. I'm like, you dumbass, you have a cell phone that not only gives your location, you tell people where you're at.
Oh, please. The people who are scared of the government, they're like, oh, they're watching everything. Like they don't have to steal your DNA. I was in a Discord conversation the other day. The initiate invited me to, and I had one of the images of myself from Midjourney, and they're like, they can once you upload a picture to Midjourney, that they can use that for other purposes. I was like, yeah, I don't really care. He's like, people use those pictures to make porn. They make deep fake porn with other people's faces. And I was like, all right. I mean, so you don't care if people make porn with your face? Not really. I mean, it's not me.
I wasn't there.
It's not me. It's an image of my avatar. That's not me, though. I get the intellect. I get all that, but that's not me. It's an image of the self that occupies the body, right? It's not even, it's the body where the self occupies. That's not even technique. That's nothing. It's a meat suit, bro. I don't give a shit. What am I going to do? I put pictures of myself on the internet and somebody takes them and stitches them into some weird shit. Okay. Worst case scenario, somebody I know rolls up on me and like, yo, I seen some weird gay porn with you in it. I'm going to be like, what were you watching? This ain't about me no more.
How did we get here?
Yeah, how did we get here? This ain't about. I can't imagine any negative outcome from some nefarious Midjourney activity where they take my face and stitch it into some. I just don't see the outcome to that where I need to be worried about it. I don't see it. You use phones that give your location. You're being recorded every time you step out of your door. If it's not in the big city with stores and ATM cams and all that other shit. People got everybody, 7 out of 10
There's a
houses on the
camera
block got ring
everywhere.
cameras.
DoorDash, not the DoorDash, but the door cams
Yeah,
on
the
on
ring, the
the
doorbell
ring light.
camera.
Yeah.
There's 7 out of 10 houses on every block got one, depending on where you at. But I mean, and also technically that's always going to be something that you'll eventually be thankful for, right? So somebody grabs a little kid from outside the house. They're out there playing. Somebody grabs a little kid. There's a system out there in place that could be like, he picked him up from here at this time. We're going to tap into the ring cameras. He went this way. He took a left over here. And then he pulled, they're kicking the door, kill this motherfucker. Well, maybe they won't do that. Maybe like, due process, they'll take him to jail and shit. But that's one of the inevitable outcomes of there being cameras everywhere. What's the negative outcome of it? Really? Like what? They going to see you? Yeah, I went outside and they looked at me. Okay, I mean, I don't see the problem. I just don't see the problem.
Even Alexis solving crimes. Somebody Alexis records you, and then something happened. I forgot what it was.
Oh yeah.
They
People
solved the
raising
crime.
their voices and shit.
Yeah.
Now they'll be like, "Yo, do we need to call the cops? Or y'all screaming at each other and shit?"
Yeah, it's just silly. You know what your haplogroup is or whatever. They have your DNA through 23andMe and
Right.
Ancestry.com.
Right.
That's starting to be used in court cases
Oh yeah,
too.
that too.
Yeah.
Yeah, they
So
got a
you
rapist
just-
like that. They got a rapist like that because the rapist, enough of his family members submitted themselves for 23andMe. Like 3 or 4, like, my brother, my cousin, and it was like, wait, we getting some hits. We got to check this. Oh, yeah, he's related to these people. Let's find this motherfucker.
Right. So you either have to take a vaccine to change your DNA, and I'm sure Bill Gates has one. Just ask him. He'll
Oh,
give
yeah,
it
there's
to
a lot
you.
of people already have,
Or-
according to the internet.
Burn off your fingertips. Live complete Ted Kaczynski Unabomber manifesto in the log cabin style. That's the only way. Like if anybody around you, like you said, I don't have all these cameras that monitor my house. Yeah, but your neighbor does. I didn't give my DNA over. Yeah, but your cousin did. And your sibling did. We basically have you. We basically have it.
Hey, I ain't mad at it. Like I said, I don't see enough negative outcomes for it. I guess if you're clever enough and you come up with enough ideas, you can. I'm sure there's somebody on YouTube that spun a nice story. They're probably also a flat earther. They believe that Joe Biden is an alien, but you got to take all that with a grain of salt because he might be right about the one thing. Maybe they're going to use these cameras to, just destroy humanity one day because that's what you need to destroy humanity. Not nukes, not bombs that target genetic groups, not diseases that kill only certain people that they can program it. Not that. What they really need is surveillance. That's how they get you. They get you.
I'm not worried about it, dude.
Once they get
I'm
your
not-
picture on the internet, it's over for you.
I'm not worried about it. I look forward to seeing our pornos as they get released. Fuck it. I'm with it. Who cares? Who cares?
Yeah, I'm down. Go for it. Actually, just forward it to me after you make it, because
Let's see how it turns out.
Yeah, I want to see how it turns out. I might have some pointers for you. I might have some objections, like not you can do that,
Get
but
that
not
camera
that.
off that angle. Don't let that in.
We
than that,
know
you
what
did
angle
good.
that is. We definitely know. But yeah, it's all good. Like I said, the conspiracy theorists can have it. I'm not worried about it. And this capitalism thing that we unpack in here trying to figure out, I think the only real answer to this is that you just got to figure out what works for you in context and be okay with that. As long as you can sleep at night, I mean...
Because either way, you're still gonna make money.
Right, you can still get it, but if you have your sights set on some of these huge plateaus, like I want to get to Jeff Bezos area, you might have to cut some corners, and by cut some corners, I mean use some child labor. That might be the only legitimate way to get to those numbers is child labor, and not giving people breaks, because it could go left too, right? The whoever was the nicest boss is the guy who gets screwed the most, right? We do know that. Like
When
if
you
Of course.
can get a pack of AAA batteries delivered to your house with some almond milk and an iPhone charger within 2 hours. You don't care if people are peeing in jars. You don't. You don't care if
Actually,
they're wearing
I need
diapers.
them
You
to pee
don't
in the
care if they're
jars
not happy.
because I
Right?
can't wait till tomorrow. I can't go get
It's
the shit
not gonna get there.
myself. What am I, a
Fuck
caveman?
no. What are you, a peasant?
That,
Am I a
What are
be
you
in the
in the
house
peasant?
third
chilling.
world?
Don't
You live in a
go
hut?
nowhere.
This is a shanty town? What are you talking about? Go to the store. I pay people to drop shit off to me.
You think I'm going to go to Walmart and be assaulted by the sight of peasants? No.
You seen the people at Walmart?
Right. There's a
You
whole
don't even wanna
website
be.
about it. It's
You don't
called
want to
People
be
of
bothered.
Walmart.
You don't want to be bothered by the throngs of the filthy, unwashing masses. You don't
Bro,
want it. You don't
I hate
deserve
walking
it.
in the mall. I hate walking in the mall. I hate being around. Like, I just hate it. I hate it.
Right. So we all we all do. We hate each other and we hate places of business where we have to interact with the masses. So we made Jeff Bezos a fucking trillionaire. So again, it always comes back to us. Jeff Bezos can't be a multi-billionaire who makes people pee in a cup or he'll fire them if he wasn't giving us something that we wanted and that we weren't willing to live without on the principle of you care more about getting those batteries in 2 hours than you care about people pissing in jars. I'll admit it. Will you admit it? And if we all came together and we agreed, you know what, to show a point, and until he changes, let's all cancel our Amazon subscription. That would be a good use of fucking social media. I think that would be better than hunting down Coney. We have to kill Coney, right? If you're gonna have a social media fucking movement, like maybe something productive that affects lives and change and isn't all made up by the fucking CIA. Yeah, maybe that would be a wise usage of it. But that would take soldiers with vision. You're waiting for somebody to come around and tell you, don't buy Jeff Bezos. Jeff
No.
Bezos is evil. We have to raid and kill in his sleep.
Yeah.
We have to raid his camp. We have to
Eat the
send the
rich.
soldiers.
We got to eat the rich. And the rich are like, we don't have to eat the poor. We just have to employ them for as low as possible and dangle a carrot in front of them. And they'll just live a mundane existence for the next 40 years. We don't got to kill them. We need them.
You know that's what killed the French. You know that's what killed the French in Haiti.
What?
What's that?
Like, cause that's exactly what killed them. Because basically, like, I can't think of the name. I know, but who's the guy? I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Haitians. What's the name of the guy?
Toussaint
Louverture.
Louverture.
Yeah.
Toussaint Louverture. Yeah, he basically was like telling the French and everybody around him was like, if you pay us, we'll go back to work. We just can't be in these conditions, like the way you're treating us.
Mm.
And they're like, nah, niggas, like, that's not how we started this shit.
No, niggas. That's pretty. How you say that in French?
No.
How
Absolutely
you
not.
say no, niggas in French? That's hilarious. No, but it just makes sense. It just makes sense. Like you said, the foresight, all of that shit. Most of the people who are complaining about the world as it is now would not have survived without colonialism and what colonialism created. Most people wouldn't want to live in that world. You don't want to build a teepee. You don't want to have a hut with leaves on the top of it. You're repulsed by that shit now. That's what's stopping you from going to Africa. It's because you don't want to be barefoot and dirty. So how do you think that you would survive in this world? Or do you just think, oh, I get it. See, what they do is they wait for somebody to invent the wheel, create the combustion engine and make the car and then pick you up hitchhiking on the road. And then you complain about the car and try to kick everybody out of it, and then you get to drive it the way you want to. And then they find you 5 miles up the road broken down because you didn't change the oil, you didn't do that. You just rammed the shit into a tree and then got back out and kept complaining. This is what they want to do with the modern world. Like you could have never built it. You with the way that you're talking, you never would have accomplished any of these things, but you think you get to run it more effectively and more efficiently than the people who have been doing all of the work. And I guess the equivalent, that's what it is. They think they can run it better than the people who've done all the work to get you here. When in reality, you would have never taken any of that onto yourself to create a different world. And all you're going to do right now is destroy it all in record time because you don't respect anything. No, you got to pay people $100 an hour to work at Wendy's. That's how you fix the world. And now there's no more Wendy's. It's gone. Because you went bankrupt, because you paid people so much. Was that your compassion, or was that just stupidity? Was that just you being too liberal with shit that you didn't earn, create, or maintain? So you're just like, nah, just give it all away. Everybody will be fine. It doesn't make sense. It's
That
definitely not a plan for longevity.
that's definitely a neck tattoo. Put me in charge of the world so I can destroy it.
That's pretty
basically the
much the
theme.
leftist motto, right? Like that's what they want. They want to tear everything down because it all represents patriarchy, and everything that's even remotely uh, cylindrical is a penis. So it just reminds you of men, and everything's bad and all. Okay, I get it, but you know what's going to happen because you think everything is just going to be fine. You know what's going to happen. You're going to destroy patriarchy in your little, your little town that you created. No cops here. We don't, all cops are bastards. We don't want to fuck with y'all. And the next thing you know, somebody's going to be calling 911 whispering, they won't stop raping me. Please send the cops.
Look at L.A.
You want male
Y'all
cops?
talk about
Or like,
defund the police, and now look at L.A.
oh, please. Yeah, that's the only way that goes. That's the only way that goes because you don't have 100 years of maintaining social hierarchy, and I know hierarchy is like a racist word, but you don't have 100 years of maintaining a system and creating an ethics system of how people are supposed to deal with each other and treat each other. You just all are linking up under the name of angst and poverty and self-hatred and a bunch of other shit, and you're looking at the people who don't seem to show those characteristics. You don't think they're experiencing this thing that you're experiencing, so you just want to destroy them, just rip it all down. I guess that's what that little saying is: cut off your nose to spite your face. Like, I'll teach my face a lesson. I'm gonna saw my nose off. Like, I don't think anybody wins in this equation. I don't think anybody's gonna make the come up that they think they're gonna make. But you don't get to tell them that. They have to suffer and be sacrificed to the gods of leftism, the gods of socialism, or anarcho-capital, or whatever you want to call it. You have to just
They can't
watch
come
people,
to Wyoming.
You just got to watch people die and get fucked over. And then they come back like the runaway. They come back wet and abused, and they're like, Dad, I'm sorry, I didn't want to clean my room. Well, now you know, huh? Like, when I told you cleaning your room's not that bad, you were like, oh, you're a dick, you don't understand. So you ran away. You were abused by 50 different strangers, and now it's raining. You came back wet and hungry, and I let you right back in. Now, how long do you think it'll be before you start complaining about your room again?
You need that bloody asshole.
Fuck you, Dad.
That bloody asshole will change your mind.
Yeah, not until
You
that
got a
heals.
chat.
Yeah, when you start being able to sit down without wincing, that's when the complaining starts again. But as long as you can sit down and you wince a little, you cringe a little, like it gives you a flashback of what happened when you believed that stranger who said he was going to give you a ride and give you a free sandwich. Oh, no, yeah, come on, hop in. Yeah, guess what? Guess how that ends? And that's the story of humanity as a whole. At least the people who did the atrocities had a larger plan in mind. Like, yeah, we're going to have to wipe out a bunch of motherfuckers, but if you look across the vista of the land, you can see a Walmart over there. If you really concentrate, see a Walmart, a Starbucks, a movie theater. There's going to be a place where you can fix your car. Like, oh, really? Wow, that's amazing. Like, y'all motherfuckers just been laying around, and I know it sounds fun. You're just banging and sleeping on the ground and shit, and smoking a peace pipe, doing psychedelic. That sounds awesome. But yeah, the rest of the world, people don't want to partake in that shit. If you created that right now, nobody would want to be there. Nobody.
We got somebody in the chat. Hierarchy will always exist as everyone has different skills. Envy will always come to destroy the skilled.
Absolutely. 100%. I completely agree. There's a lot of people who think you can do away with this shit and you can just throw it all away. I don't think that's true. I think it's just part of the human condition. I think this is just the way things are. There is an objective high and an objective low. Even though they're intrinsically connected, it takes one to measure the other. Long is measured by short. Right? That's the way this shit works in this dimension. It just is what it is. But we assign the value. So like, when there's a person who's able to do this one thing, yeah, we're going to pay him more, and this person may only be doing the flipping the burgers and doing the fries. That doesn't mean you're worth less as a human. That doesn't mean we get to take from you and disrespect you and spit on you. That's not what that means. That at least that's not what it should mean. But that's the path to judgment that people go through. It's just what humans do. There's no way to remove this from them in their current configuration. I just don't see it happening. Short of, the alien brain slugs that come down and take away all our worries, or the alien spores that come down and colonize the brain and make you act differently, or some type of spiritual evolution. If that's not the case, I don't know what it's going to be. That's why when you write down, okay, we're not capitalists anymore, we're socialists. All right, are the socialists humans though? Oh yeah, so they're humans? Okay, well, prepare your anus. Because you're getting fucked one way. Like, it's gonna happen. There's no way around it. It's gonna happen. There's no system. There's no alignment that you could write down on a piece of paper that removes the human propensity to human. They just do. Tribalism doesn't stop it. Making, I only live in a neighborhood with only black people. That's not gonna fix it. Only white people. That's not gonna fix it. It just, it is what it is. So we just got to deal with it for the time being. That's why you should be a responsible adult and start your own cult. I think if you're projecting this shit out onto the world at large, and you want them to change, but you're not willing to establish it for yourself, you fucking up. You're being a baby. You're whining. Stop doing that. Stop saying what the rich should give you, because there's nothing in the system that appeals to. You already have decided that they don't have compassion. You've already, this is something that we've established. So if they don't have compassion, what are you appealing to when you say they should give us something? You're just talking to hear yourself talk.
I just want the Pelosi tax tips, man. The Pelosi stock tips.
For real.
That's all I want.
I
want to know
that.
I want to know what you guys.
That comes at a price. There's hammers and bloody anuses involved.
Again, prepare your anus.
Always.
Yeah, that's
it's
like
always
the
price
motto.
Of admission.
Yeah, always just back in the room, and we'll let you know when you've backed in far enough to get some of the secrets. But hey,
well, I guess he's proven it, because what Yakub was saying, he was in a car with like 2 other people, so they wanted to know the tips.
Yeah,
comes with a price.
They'll figure it out.
They had questions.
Start your own cult immediately. There's enough of these people. They all got iPhones. They all have they're all drinking a latte every day. So y'all can pool your resources and say, you know what? At least you don't even have to start with 10, 15, 20 acres. Start with just one.
Meet up at the Starbucks.
One communist duplex.
Nah, not even.
How about
not
a
even
socialist duplex? Y'all just rent that out and share all your money and just see how it works in that space without trying to project.
That shit will fall apart in an apartment of roommates.
Yeah.
It would fall apart. Hey, let us organize the entire planet, but we can't make this shit work in a 3-bedroom apartment.
And it always ends up with
you want to destroy everything.
Yeah, they just want to wreck it all because it reminds them of a penis. That's what it is. It's all just a penis. It's men, it's dudes, it's patriarchy. That's also part of that system is that, we protect women at all costs. Well, women are not dainty little flowers that need protecting. Until somebody punches you in the face and you're like, yo, y'all men are going to let him punch me in the face like that? We don't want to be toxic. I mean, you can't fucking just be beating people up. But what did you do, though? This is equality. What did you say? Nothing. No, we can't do that. It's not going to work. It's not going to work. So start a cult immediately. If you're not willing to start a cult, and like I said, apartment, a duplex, a house, grow your own food. Don't eat meat because it's evil. You can do all of that. You can do all of those things without going on TikTok and complaining about Jeff Bezos. He has nothing to do with how you organize your experience.
People are full of shit. I took my kids to a butchery around the holiday. I didn't take them, but my mother did. And they're like, oh, man, we saw the animals get killed. There was blood dripping and this and that and the other. And they're still eating Chinese food. They're still eating McDonald's.
Of course.
Still,
That's how you forget about the atrocities. The only way you can forget about tiny busy hands is to buy a pair of Nikes that are mad comfortable, and then hopefully if it's the right pair of Jordans, you'll get some attention from a lady. Next thing you know how that goes. You go see a slaughterhouse, you cry about the animals. What's going to make you feel better than having a nice cheeseburger?
Beef and broccoli.
Yeah, eat a cheeseburger. It's going to give you all the chemicals you need to forget what you just saw.
That's how you learn humans quick. You have kids. They were
Oh
like,
yeah,
oh, I was
yeah,
traumatized. It was crazy. I wanted to leave. Like they were crying. And then I left them at my mother's out there over Chinese food, McDonald's,
yeah,
everything.
yeah. Because they
Everything.
have PTSD. That's how you fix the PTSD. You just go get some burgers and shit. Buy a nice pair of child crafted
Damn.
sneakers. Like, I mean, what else can you do? Just
We're,
live with
we're,
the anxiety. Live with the, live with the trauma. That's another sandbag that's going to slow you down. Now you got ethics and the daily pain of knowing what's going on in the world. How are you ever going to get rich if you're just watching videos of Nanking on YouTube and crying about it all night? How are you going to get rich? You can't. I promise. I promise. The
You're
suffering
right
is
about
real.
it.
Yeah. Maybe you'll get rich if you write books about it, and other people who want to suffer buy the books, and then you get rich. But you're gonna have to stop watching those videos eventually. It's just the way it is. I'm sorry, but you can't. You're not gonna get rich if all you're doing is torturing yourself with all the suffering in the world. You're gonna have to turn the volume down on that shit somewhere, even if you turn it down enough to get the money, and then you take the money to try to fix the problem. But you can't just wallow in the pity of humanity and expect to dig your way out of it. It's not going to work. You just add more to the suffering. Now it's just one more person suffering, in my opinion. So, and that's where I'm at. Like, I've seen enough. I've seen enough videos. I've seen enough documentaries. I know what we do to each other. I know what we have done to each other historically. I know some of them were black. Some of the bad actors were black. Some of them were white. Everywhere you go in the world, everywhere you look, like I said before, spin the globe, throw a dart. Wherever it lands, those people in that place have fucked each other over. Terrible.
Just like coming to America. Queens.
Yeah, horribly. They've treated each other horribly. So get over it and make enough money to change it. That's my only suggestion. I don't know what else to tell you. Make enough money to change it. Is that the coldness of capitalism? Kanye had $1 billion and he wanted to talk shit rather than actually fix problems. The escapism of activism. Right? I got to give Yakub credit for that one. That was some genius pulled out of that. The activism becomes the escapism. You don't really want to fix nothing. You just want to yell and hold a sign. You want to throw a Molotov cocktail, and this was the reason that you did it. You claim it's about politics and about race, and the cop killed a guy. You just wanted to throw a Molotov, and you didn't have a good enough reason. So you created one. You latched on to one. You saw something on the news, and you were like, you know what? I'm gonna put a padlock in a sock, and I'm gonna go hit a white man with it because I don't like how much money Jeff Bezos pays his employees. I think you just wanted to hit a white man with a padlock in a sock. I'm pretty sure that's how that works.
You've been in the room sweating and jerking off, and your teeth have been chattering, and you've just been waiting, holding a sock and a padlock in your dick, just waiting.
Yeah, you already had it. You already had the sock and the padlock. You were just waiting. You were in the house swinging it, watching.
Give me the word.
Yeah, just get the news.
I don't care if it destroys this neighborhood. I'll burn it down too.
Dude, just watching the news. Has the match struck yet? Is it okay to do it yet?
That's basically the LA riot.
Yeah. And before we
go,
go,
well, we're gonna burn things down.
Before we go, I want to give a shout out to Dr. Umar and his sleight of hand. I love how this brother talks. It's so amazing how he could tell on himself in the middle of a conversation, and people are so puffed up with that melanin magic energy that they don't even listen to what he's saying. They just let him get away with it. This is the man who said in the same interview, and nobody called him on it. In one interview, he said, there's no reason to marry outside your race. No reason ever, because you need to give your resources to black people, and white people can never do this. They can never give you the melanin activation that you need. They don't have the capacity to be spiritual and all of this shit because they're melanin deficient. So there's no reason, no matter what's going on with your dating life, your issues, there is no reason to open up your choices to people outside of your race and culture. In the same interview, he said black contractors fucked him over so bad that he had to go hire white ones to get the job done. I kept trying to give the money to black people, but they kept playing me. They wouldn't do the work. They would take the money. They'd never get the work done. It took months and months and months. I gave the money to white contractors. It was done in a week. But there is never a reason for you to go outside of your race. So you can go outside of your race for business, but you can't go outside of your race for your own life.
That's so stupid.
Your own relationships. There's no reason. Shouldn't he just have found more black contractors to give money to? Right? I mean, that's the logic, right?
Or is he saying that the building was so important we just had to take whatever was going to work, but the destiny of who you're partnering your life with for the remainder of your life, if you're doing it right, that's not as important in planning the conditions in which you'll raise children and leave a legacy.
Right.
No exceptions there.
No.
But look, we got to betray the principles if we're going to get this building fixed. The building's more important than your destiny?
Right.
And your home?
Right.
I don't know, man.
Right. But like I said,
silly shit.
He said both of those things in one interview, and nobody said, wait. Are you sure? Are you sure this is you want to stand on this? No, nope. It was fine. Let's just make it happen. Nobody's really listening to this conversation. But shout out to Dr. Umar, man. I mean, you got to be slick to pull that off.
No, he definitely got sleight of hands.
Yeah.
Pulling shit out the road.
Yeah, his sleight of hand is plus 10. If this was a role playing game, he would definitely be a rogue. He'd be a Negrogue, is what he would be. He would be a Negrogue. That's exactly what he would be. But I give it to him, man. He's a smart brother, and he's figured it out. And there's not a whole lot you can say when you say contradicting points in one interview, and the people in the room with you won't even call you on it. You've done your job. You won. Job. Yeah, he won. He won the game. And if anybody wants to know how I know this is terrible. I keep doing this, but you want to know how Dr. Umar wins the game? I'm gonna show you right now.
Donations, gifts.
This is horrible.
More gifts.
Yeah, that's how he won the game.
This is their hero.
Yeah, is this your king?
This is your king.
If you didn't see the visual, I would just think that someone was either like swinging a pendulum or like shaking some incense out of one of them incense burners. Like it sounds like a ritual. Like it
is.
Donations.
The chat's going up, by the way.
Donations.
Yeah, it is. That's absolutely what it is. But hey, listen. If Dr. Umar can do it, so can we. We are definitely accepting gifts and donations. We accepted gifts and donations to the cult. And just so you know, what you're investing in is helping us either prove ourselves right or wrong. If you think people can be compassionate once they become millionaires and start their own, cults and be completely blissful in their lives, send us money. If you think people can't do it, if you think once people get a certain amount of money, they're going to forget about all their principles and ideologies, send us more money to see if we prove ourselves wrong. Give us an opportunity to be either, the people who stand on the shit they say, or be complete hypocrites who piss on their entire legacy once they reach a certain dollar amount in their bank accounts. But either way,
they all do it, man. This just goes back to that Facebook group that me and Yakub read. Like the dude, I'm pretty sure like there was a time when the dude was asking for money, and he got everybody perfectly because it's like everybody's like, all right, we'll give you like 25 American dollars or whatever. And then a couple like days later, he's posted like pictures just like Dr. Umar. It's just Trinidadian money, but it's American money he flipped. It's just they all do it.
Yeah.
Oh, was that dude that owned a convenience store out there?
Yeah, because remember he was like he was trying to get donations, and then he basically guilted everybody.
Look, I already knew better back then. I'm not giving nobody shit. I know everybody's full of shit, and I would even say too.
I was like, I gave it to him just to see because sometimes when you're like in these all black rooms, you have to like push it, right? So it's like, all right, we're gonna start giving money. All right, I'll give you $10, right? And then we'll see what happens from there. And then it's just the white man is this, and we have to kill all gay people, and then I'm out.
Right. So how did Umar pull it off? Because it's like you can only get somebody once if you're really not gonna do shit. Do you know what I mean? Like, how do you get away with doing it over and over and never producing anything? Like,
Because
that's a special
he's
kind of
rocking them to
fuckery.
sleep. He's telling them shit like that. The black woman is God, and melanin magic, and white people can't taste food, and they
Hey,
can't
keep
hear
in mind,
God
you're not
because they don't
making the
have
money
melanin.
he's making without talking like that.
Yeah,
Without
not
not
from
giving a
black
Yeah,
fuck.
folks, not directly
Yeah.
from black folks. Like that's
Yeah.
how you get money from the people who are still angry at whiteness, the idea of white supremacy. It's a very lucrative farming tactic. That's why we was buying books off the street corner when we was young. That's what was driving that shit. We was standing out listening to fucking what's his name? I can't even remember his name right now. The other doctor.
Malachi's York,
Yeah, Dr.
Dr. York.
York. We was
Yeah.
listening to Dr. York shit because he was telling us that we was aliens from another planet and that white people were basically a highly evolved disease. That's pretty much what they are. They're just a highly evolved disease. You fuck everything over, but you're the god of the universe. That shit sounds awesome when all you know about is slavery and Jim Crow. You're like, oh wait, I'm the god of the universe. Oh shit, give me that book, $5. Here you go. It's a super lucrative hustle, but if you once you have to evolve eventually. You can't just live on that shit. That's like eating spam. Yeah, you can live on it for a little while, but eventually it's going to stop your fucking heart. This is not something that you just want to put your entire existence to. It's not. It's not that good for you. So it's the fast food for the mind. That's what it is. It's McDonald's for the mind, and he's selling like McDonald's is selling. Just we ain't got to build no school. He got on the radio and told people that he had to hire white contractors because black ones wasn't doing their job.
Yeah. Look, I'll even take it. I'll even take it a step further as far as the donation shit. Like, give us bread to see if we'll do it or if we'll fuck it up. I would even say, and if you got the better vision, ask us for money. Ask everybody for money and just go do it.
Absolutely.
I don't give a fuck if we're the conduit through which the shit gets done. I just need to see it done. I need to see the ball rolling in my lifetime before I check out of here. Like, okay, are we starting to get it right? Like, with all of these technological tools and advances and conveniences we have we gotten like the ethical part down to where we know how to solve problems pragmatically and work together to get shit done? Because we can do it now more easily than ever before. Have we done it? I don't know. We're just shit posting and hating on each other. Yeah. And that's why I love Doobie. Thank you for, I don't know who that dude is, that to Tamarica Bay or some shit like that. I don't know.
Taharka Bay.
I'm glad. I don't like Tariq Nasheed, but I'm glad you were revoking blackness, and I'm glad people have to listen to the complete works of Rick James.
That's
and
right.
I'm glad that people.
I own blackness, and I'm passing out blackness cards. And, you know what I'm saying? So there's infractions. Just let you know.
There's requirements.
Yeah, you gotta pay.
You should. If you're gonna be able to use the grift, there should be some. If it's really a thing that'll get you called a coon or kicked out of a group or canceled or whatever, if there really is a power in that identity, then you know it should just be like the Donnybrook Association or whatever governing bodies. There should be rules and a charter. And as far as I know, Doobie's the only one that's trademarked the ownership, the ownership of blackness, and actually has rules for these infractions and guidelines. As far as I know, no one else has done it. So that money is due to you, bro. And I thank you for doing what you do.
Yeah, we're going to keep tabs on them, too. We're going to start sending these cats invoices. We're going to send them invoices until somebody actually shows the invoice. They shows the invoice that we sent them for their blackness infractions. or we might get some people to actually start paying them, because, I mean, Doobie is the rightful owner of blackness. Nobody else has done it. Nobody's really owned blackness since China. So, you know what I mean? Somebody had to do it right. And I appreciate it. But yeah, man, I mean, I think we've done enough of the heavy lifting for this evening. I definitely appreciate the conversation. I got the website up on the screen right now. If anybody's feeling generous, they want to take a look at the stuff we have here, Sweetco Art Collective. It's swtko.art, and that's just, a little private business that we got going on here. We put our own art and creations on a bunch of garments. We got canvas art, a whole bunch of cool shit. So definitely take some time to check that out. But yeah, this is what we're doing. It's like I say all the time, all work is self-work. Everything else is escapism. So if you're complaining and you're getting lost in the activism and not actually taking any responsibility for your own shit and trying to build a cult, then you're just bullshitting around. You're just bullshitting. I want to see as many iterations of this as possible. I want to see every way that it could possibly be done. I want to see what happens when you have your cult of only blue-haired feminists. I want to see if it works. I just want to see. Do that. If you only accept only gay black people can live here, I want to see that compound too. I want to see how it works. I want to know
Not
if
after
there's
hours.
No, definitely not. Oh, this is family friendly only. It's got to be a safe for work stream.
Got to go during the day.
Yeah, but I'll watch
the day
it
in public.
I want to see if it's anything that we can take and use to empower our own compound. Is there some things that we definitely want to stay far away from? This is how we learn it. So do what you got to do. Start your cult. Share your process. I'm interested to see how it goes. And yeah, we here, man. This is the Cult of Dangerous Gentlemen, and I appreciate you brothers making time for this conversation. I appreciate everybody in the comments, all the AIU
shout out to the
fam
views in the chats, man. Please come back. We're very consistent. We come once a week. You know, we got movie reviews coming.
Yeah, movie
reviews. Punch Women soon come. For those who don't know,
more original art, all of that stuff. So we definitely appreciate you guys for showing up and listening. It's good to be seen. It's good to have people tap in with us. So you are greatly, greatly appreciated. And tell Devin we said what up. Over here we refer to him as Devon. Just let him know if he ever wants to pull a black card. He has full permission from Doobie
to pull the
black card and call himself Devon whenever he wants to. We open that door for him. That's the homie. So y'all enjoy the rest of the evening, and I'm sure we'll be talking soon, brothers.
Dola. Maybe so.
Bless up.
Metaphysics is going to have to be the quote-unquote religion of tomorrow. If it isn't, you're fucked. Totally and absolutely.